Okay. So,
Catching up with the davening, that's your phone.
yeah, so the story's like this. Rabbi, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Pass it, let's just pass one. Pass it back.
Pass it around.
No, so the word's like this. I was davening in Satmar, and I realized that when people go to Satmar, not just me, but a lot of other people, you have your thing. It doesn't have to be Ashrei, it could be Baruch Shamar, but most people are not waiting for the next brachas minyan to start. Right? Even though there's one starting always in less than 2 minutes. What's the word? If you go to a minyan that's up to brachas, then you're caught up and you have to talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom for 45 minutes. If you go to the Ashrei minyan, then all you have to do is read Hebrew very fast for half an hour. That's all you have to do. It's a way to not be present the entire time. The scariest thing for most people is silence or stillness, where you're caught up. This is the secret of why people push snooze buttons. Nobody really believes that 5 minutes of nervous sleep is worth being late the whole day. Like, there's no svara in that. But why does the whole world push snooze buttons? Because we like being a little late. If you're a little late, then you just have to play catch up. And then you can survive the entire day without thinking. But the second that you're caught up, and you're right where you need to be, so then your mind is there, then you think. Yeah? I just feel like we're like in this, when we didn't get back into the Zman yet. Like we're like, what's the heart? You hear the Torah? Like you would think that people want to be caught up. You want to be present. It's literally the opposite. There's nothing scarier in the world than presence. As soon as things get quiet, people go nuts. I saw this with the college kids, and I would give shiurim in college. If you're giving shiur any time during the day, you can have their attention. But if it's the last period of the day, every kid is on their phone, planning out what they're going to do as soon as school ends. Because if chas v'sholom school ends and there's nothing to do, all your ducks aren't in a row, then you have silence. And silence is your enemy. You have to know exactly as school ends where you're going, and you have to go there and do it until you're so tired that you come home and you fall right to sleep when you're headed to bed. But chas v'sholom, to have dead time, and the scariest dead time is shul. So you have to go to an Ashrei minyan. Then I just have to read Hebrew fast. And if you come to shul and there is no other minyan, they only have a brachas minyan, and you made a mistake and you got there early, you thought they're starting later. So then we all get from, and that day we say all the karbanos. Dafka to fall behind. And if you're still caught up, it's like a yeshiva shemini, you could say all the karbanos. So then everyone becomes like the biggest Talmud Chacham. You bring a stack of svarim to shul. But chas v'sholom, to do in shul what you came to shul for. And I think that the secret is that is the real purpose of shul. The real purpose of shul is just to face your life. We just know where you're allowed to be. You have to just be there. And to just to think. Because that thinking is a matana. Once you think, you're good. The trick is to not think. You mask him. You hear the side. This is what I was saying with the cash advance guys. Like this mentality comes from not being able to look yourself in the mirror. It comes from you can't deal with silence when you're not. People who love where they are. I told you this the first year I gave you. I told you a similar thing with the mirrors talk.
That's for us, here.
What? That was different chevra?
That was by night Seder. It was me and Abrami.
So most guys weren't here. In the mirrors talk to your side is a very, very big side. It's like
Talk to what? The mirror?
mirrors talk. The mirrors talk. You know, you probably know. Shabbos. I did it in the hotel grada. I did it like why are all the mishalim for Shabbos?
Queen.
The three metaphors for Shabbos: the Malka, Shabbos Malka, Kala, Boy Chala, Eishes Chayil, the perfect wife. All the metaphors of Shabbos are all women. What does Shabbos have to do with women? So the aside is that So I'm not into it. Why is this like Mamish sleep? It's like Mamish the Nazvedo Yoyim Mayim Azveka.
Right, we should have done it
Need
outside.
someone to take shots.
Yeah, maybe we have to do something more hardcore. Someone's gonna ask something like kishkish.
Personal, something personal.
No,
right?
something. Not feeling it. Whatever it is, this is side. I'll tell you. This is what I tell the girls when I talk to girls who are in shidduchim. Like if I talk to a girls group, this is like the aside. You see, a girl. The men sit by married people sit by breakfast and they read the cornflakes box for the 47th time in the morning. Nobody reads anything twice, let alone 47 times. Why do we read the cornflakes box for the 47th time? Because what's behind the cornflakes box is your wife.
Or behind the phone.
And when a man looks his wife in the eyes, what does he see? Everything he promised when he was a chassan. And if you're not that guy, then you can't make eye contact. You can't look. So you read the cornflakes box. And so I call that a mirror, meaning the a girl is at 5 levels. Girls are mirror level number 3. Mirror level number 3 is a girl. Like when you look in a girl's eyes, basically the idea is that everybody has a picture of what they're supposed to be, but we can distract ourselves and go through life and not think about it to avoid all that sorrow and that pressure. But if you don't force yourself, if you don't look at who you were meant to be, then you can never be that. Your dreams can come true if you don't dream them. If you could avoid your dreams, if you could avoid your she'ifas, it'll never happen. So the most important yesod is to face your she'ifas. The problem is that it's too much pressure or pain, depending on where you are in your thought process of are they achievable. If it's still achievable, it's pressure. If it's not achievable, it's painful. But either way, it's a hassle. So we try and avoid that, and we try and, we come up with, we find new chevra who don't remember me when I had big shifas. And we have this game we play. It's like a social contract, right? I tell you, you are the man.
So, no, you're the man.
And you're the man, right? We go back and forth 5 times until we agree that, what do we agree?
We're the men.
We are the men, So I find the whole new chevra who don't remember me when I was a dreamer, and they look at me now as like no one could drink as much as you, whatever it is that you could do now, so you're the guy. And then you never have to think about what you wanted to be. You could go your whole life without thinking about it until you call your parents. And when you call your parents say, what's new? And everybody says the same thing, nothing much, nothing really. Why? Because when parents say what's new, what's the translation to that? The translation is how much closer are you to all those things that you wanted to be when you were 8? When you were jumping off the couch with a towel tied around your neck and you were going to save the world. So, we love our parents and we know they love us, but we can't have a conversation because every time they say what's new, they don't chop how much pain they're causing us. Their parents, they don't mean to hurt us, but they have no idea what we went through. So they don't know that I just spent 8 years trying to hide from all those ideas. I have a whole new chevra who doesn't remind me, and they tell me that, that I'm the guy because I can do some weird stuff. So I call parents a mirror level number 2. So the thing with parents is, so when you talk to your parents say what's new. It's a reminder of all your truth. The problem is with parents, it doesn't work because you could hang up on them or not call them so often. Or when they say what's new, you say nothing and go on. A wife is a much more intense mirror because if you read cornflakes, she's going to eventually take the box away and say enough with the cornflakes already. Talk to me. So each mirror level is increasing level of money you. The first mirror, I don't want to do the whole mirror talking. The first mirror was like a diary. A diary is a reminder of all your dreams. So you can go to college and do messed up stuff, and you come home, you read your diary. You can't lie to yourself; it's there. The problem with diaries is they're flammable. You can burn a diary. And so then you have parents. Parents, now you can't burn them, but you cannot call them. You could avoid them. You could have shallow conversations or just talk about practical things. So middle number 3 is a wife. A wife, you can't burn her and you can't avoid her. So then it gets heavy. So I tell girls in shidduchim, the next mirror you have to say first. The next mirror, so what's the 4th mirror? The 4th mirror is Shabbos. Or really shul is the same thing. Shabbos is a mirror. What's the point of What's the point of not having texting and not having a cell phone, not having a computer, not having the whole point of the point of Shabbos has nothing to do with Shabbos. We shouldn't even call it Shabbos. Even in the pasuk, Shabbos is not about Shvisa. The point of Shabbos is Vayom Hashvi Shavas Vayinofash. The goal of Shabbos is Yinofash. Shvisa is just somehow the Heichatimtza to get to Vayinofash.
What is Vayinofash?
What?
How do we refer to
Vayinofash, the simplest meaning of nefesh is without getting mystical. Vayinofash means is your nefesh is your truth. Is what's my kishkas? What's my soul? Who am I? So you know who you are? Who you are is all the voices that you hear when you get rid of all the distractions. So the purpose of Shabbos is Shavas, you rest, and what's left over when you turn the phone off is your soul. So it's brutal. People can't live like that. You know, I told you my ha'ara is with the sunflower seeds. No?
Oh, you see it all over the floor.
That Shabbos, people are addicted to sunflower seeds. But it comes, what addiction is this? Matzah Shabbos, after Havdalah, you don't look at another sunflower seed till Friday night. How's that possible? How can you be an addict one day a week? Like no one eats sunflower seeds the whole week. Shabbos, you can't live without them. What's the word?
So you're not smoking on Shabbos.
What?
You smoke throughout the week. You eat things on Shabbos.
It's not. There's no nicotine in
It's the vision.
it's texting. It's Shabbos texting. It's Shabbos swiping. Shabbos fiddling. Shabbos scrolling. It's something to not be present. Because chas v'shalom, to live in stillness. Stillness is my enemy. Because in the stillness is my soul. But now, that's only if you're not happy where you are. Right? The guy who likes where he is, the guy who doesn't, he's busy with Shmir Sinayim, and he wakes up in the morning, he davens, and he doesn't do cash advance. You know, he doesn't do this stuff. He's not hurting anyone. He's just doing chesed. That guy. So what happens with that guy? That guy can't wait for Shabbos, because he can't wait for the silence just to think about his life. People who like how they look, you can't get them out of the mirror. It's only if you don't like how you look, you don't want to look in the mirror. So the guy who's doing everything he promised, he can't wait to come home from work and look his wife in the eyes. Because there's no bigger simcha in the entire world than looking in your wife's eyes and seeing that look that says, like, wow, you're mamish, you're everything that you said you were going to be, like you're like everything you promised. That is the tachas hachayim, is that look. It's the most amazing look in the world. So how you deal with Shabbos is the best barometer to where you are. It's like little kids when you avoid your parents. But when you're a little kid and you're proud of yourself, you can't stop talking to your mother saying, enough, tell me more tomorrow. The kids don't stop talking. Everything they come to bring from mom, you hang on the fridge. You want to show her every achievement. When you don't feel legit, then you don't tell her anything good because you don't really believe in it. So it's very, very real. So I tell girls in Shidduchim is you want to know who's going to be a good husband? See how he deals with Shabbos. If the guy has to run to 8 Kiddushim and be buzzed the whole day, then that's how he's going to treat you. Because a woman is 24/7 Shabbos. If he can't look at himself in the silence, then he won't be able to look at you in the eyes. He will look at you in the eyes exactly how he looks at Shabbos.
How do you mix that with the ideal of drinking on Shabbos?
That what?
How do you mix that with the Jewish ideal of drinking on Shabbos?
There's no Jewish ideal. This is the secret with ideals is when people start talking about ideals, these are just like the marketing, the hype over anything that's an escape. You don't need advertising billboards on holy things. You only need billboards on hiding places. So if everyone's hyping drinking and talking about you're still doing bourbon. The world moved on to tequila and.
So davening 2 hours Friday night is running away from the family, or because he enjoys davening? I mean, he enjoys davening.
He's the guy that does Ten Kedeshim the next day.
He's not doing Ten Kedeshim.
He's
not doing Ten Kedeshim.
Depends,
he wants to have a Geshmak.
Depends which guy is he. Is he doing the Karlbach thing and banging on the stender and making a lot of noise and dancing, or is he singing slowly in his seat?
It's also because
which one? It's very different. It's a big difference.
No, but it's also he realized there's 6 hours Friday night. He's like, why should I do a half an hour rush davening and sit down and sit around?
It has nothing to do with
Let
6
me
hours.
enjoy.
It was one face of time, so he goes down for 2 hours.
why is that not a good
Listen,
thing?
I'm giving you a good insight. The guy by the
we got also
Kalabach,
some-
the guy by
It's a
the
great thing to daven.
the guy by the
No,
2-hour
that's also-
the guy by the 2-hour Kalabach thing. Which guy are we talking about?
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
The guy,
That guy.
which guy? The guy who's sitting there in
The
the
guy who's
seat like
involved.
this, slowly like this, or the guy who's banging on the stender? and
Just
like-
wants to be involved.
That guy's noisy. He just needs noise and dancing and hype, and he's always wants every time. Let's do another circle, another akida, another akida. The guy who's sitting there in the seat and he's going like this, slow, and not even singing loud, and just with it, he's in the zone. You know, unless he's high. But if he's not high and he's there, listen. Listen, I'll tell you, I just don't like. I don't want to be such a cynic, but the odds are that most people are running away. My go-to assumption, without sounding like the most negative guy, I see anybody running, I always assume he's running away from something, not running towards something. Anytime someone's
He's
all,
running away from a davening he doesn't find.
he's
geschmack
running
at
away
all.
from silence. Davening is not supposed to be geschmack.
Why can't it?
Davening is not geschmack. It's not, geschmack is an escape. If davening is not geschmack, it means it's not great adventure. It's not supposed to be great adventure.
Supposed to be raw. What is it supposed
Wait,
to
this
be?
dude.
It's supposed to be silent. It's supposed to be yourself.
But in the shoot's always
Davening
noisy.
is you.
Do you
It's
think
all
do you
about
think
you.
it's better to do the right thing for the wrong reason, or just don't do it all until you can develop how to do it properly?
Again, so
How do you look at it?
there's gimmicky, easy
Is it
answers,
better-
but
is
then
it
you have to
better to
ask
do
to
that?
give you a real answer. You have to ask more questions because I'll tell you, you can play both sides. To do something for the wrong reasons, then at least you're in the right spot and you're going through it. And
Or
when
you're
the
totally
mood hits
perverting
you,
it.
you'll be there.
Or
If
you're
you're doing the
perverting
wrong, reason, a person will never.
But
Guy-
if you're perverting something that's supposed to be kaddish and you're doing it completely improperly, you don't get.
See, that's why I didn't want to answer you because I didn't want to play that game. Like you know,
So
bottom
finally,
line
we
is.
get you in a corner,
I said no. I'm telling you
jump
because
on.
the answer is I can tell me your situation and I'll psychoanalyze it. But a creative guy can figure out how to turn any single thing into an escape. Okay, silence can be an escape too. Okay, you're sitting there saying like, "How long I hold my breath for?"
That's not silence.
What does silence look like if it's done properly?
It's not silence.
What?
It's not silence.
I said anybody can figure out how to ruin anything. You know, the point is that Shabbos is it's about your neshama. If every single, you know what would happen to every,
California
if every
has-
girl took her diary with her to college, how many girls would mess up their lives? Nobody. The only way you can mess up your life is your diary with all your dreams and everything you wanted, dignity and honor and respect is safe in the drawer by your parents' house. And now you can do whatever you like. So Shabbos is we never go a week without silence. You're gonna have a Shabbos and you can't survive 24 hours.
Can you elaborate on the silence? What's it look
Yeah,
like?
like what does it look like? This person who's like in the best zone, who he's perfect and he's so happy looking at his life. So he's sitting in the corner like a Buddhist monk, just like breathing, like
What's
meditating.
going on
Why
inside?
can't a comic book davening would be silence? You're
What does that silence look like? What's
Presently,
that
yeah.
perfect Shabbos? What's that perfect shit look like?
I'll tell you like that. My kids, my son is like very sharp. So my tzvi. So like I have like I'm very spaced out. I'm the most spaced out guy. So like, but it worked out a big bracha for me because when I look at my kids, like Tzvi, I get a kick out of him. You know, like a Balkisha and my Tzvi, Sendi's like the holy kid. Both Baruch Hashem, my kids are amazing. So when I'm spaced out, I'm looking at them. I do this like weird smile. You know, like fathers can do like just a weird look, like I don't know, like a quelling thing. But like you're not supposed to do that like regular life. You're supposed to like when I'm spaced out and I'm just looking at them, like Tzvi will go, "Ty, you're doing that weird thing." You know, like. But what happens is now Masiach Lefitumai, they know how I really feel, so I can like lose it, and then I could like, throw them against the wall. I never did it like that, but I'm saying I could do something messed up, and they know what I really think because they see that Masiach Lefitumai look. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that it's just you know it's real. You know it's real. So
you have to feel it.
for different people it's different. Everybody has their weird look when they're in that place. But there's a certain kind of smile you have, a certain kind of sway. But it's not about the sway. It's about how do you feel when life is good, when it's
But
good.
you're still doing things. You're not just looking at your kid
That
for
could be
24 hours
a
straight
problem.
with a smile on. That's gonna be a problem, right? So you gotta go to the Kiddush.
No, because you gotta do Kiddush, but
You're
that
saying just
moment,
exists,
but that
exists.
moment's the real moment. That moment is the moment that's
Fine,
megala
percent.
on all the other moments, how I really feel.
100%.
I could be ignoring him because I'm on the phone with somebody, but they know how I really feel from a few moments here and there where I'm spaced out and I'm smiling. So those are the real moments. Doesn't mean the rest of your life isn't real, unless if you're doing things.
Right,
But-
so I'm just saying this perfect Shabbos, the question I think it looks at, what does it look like? Does it look like nothing going on or just like a healthy amount of things going on? Just
You don't even need the perfect Shabbos for starters. First, you have to look at, before Shabbos starts, how you're looking at Shabbos. Is it subconsciously? Is like, what am I going to do now? Till like, do you know what time Seis is before it even starts? Like, or is it exciting? Are you counting down to Shabbos?
He's looking forward to being able to daven for 2 hours. Because during the
And
week he
bang on the
can't.
beam.
What?
And bang on the beam.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about
You know what the main side of davening is? It's not so much the word davening robs it of everything. It's how do you think Hashem looks at you? Is Hashem happy to see me? Is he proud of me? Or do I come there like a little bit scared? I'm like I know Hashem's loving and he's merciful, so I can show up. But like, am I like, is he going like, still, Nachamal? Like, does that look? Or is it like, you can't wait to see him because he's going to give you knip. He knows how good you did. It's all, that is all that life is. Really, life just comes down to that. Let me tell you, I'll tell you very heavy.
It's a big jump.
What?
It's a big jump.
To what?
First was just davening is only about that, and then the whole life is just this.
That's everything. That's what life is. It's the only thing worth. Like, that's why I was saying the hard money guys. That's all I was saying. That's, I don't understand how you can do it, because the only way you can do that is if already you left life. Already you left the desire to feel like Hashem is proud of you. It's not just shul. Your whole life, when a person feels like Hashem is proud of him, life is a playground. I'll tell you this conversation I had. I had this by Karav Tuni. I went to this Chassidish Akira weekend. So I spoke. I speak in English now, but this couple comes over to me after. A few couples come over to me after. Like, I speak to, after you speak, everybody likes to talk to especially Chassidim. They like to talk to the speakers. Like, it's like.
the couple or just the person that you have? So.
Mostly was couples come over. That's interesting thing. Chassidim, they're young couples. Like,
It's like a midlife crisis place, no?
no, these people who came over with me at this event were younger, and you'd be surprised. 3 different people had the same question.
Wow.
The ladies were upset about shaving their head. I guess I never meet a Litvish guy who's from. It's like, I'm a rabbi. I'm speaking a Karev Tuni. That's like a stempel that I'm kosher, but I'm not Chassidish. I don't have a beard and pious. I'm not. So they want to know, like, how come you're for him? You're allowed to speak here. They brought you in, and how come I have to shave my head? That was what I had to. That's my job.
The wives asked that?
What?
The wives asked that?
Yeah, the wife.
Yeah. The wife wants that's my job now, is to explain why women have to shave their heads. So I butchered the first one. I think I like. You fumble around. I could try. I could. How do you answer
We don't
that?
even
Like,
hold
I
that.
said,
Man. How you
best-
defending that? We don't hold that.
What?
Yeah.
I'm saying it's like
You can't throw them under the bus.
I'm not like slitting my wrists and I messed up. It was like kind of like a little bit of a high hanging fruit. Like, it wasn't.
No, bald is beautiful.
What?
Bald is beautiful.
Gold is beautiful.
You can't throw the Chassidim under the bus.
What?
That's not an option to throw them under the bus.
Yeah, no. Oh. Right. I could have. That's to my credit. I could have gone that way. Very seriously.
You don't get brought back next.
What?
No, but that's not, then you're just doing it for the money, and they don't really pay money. But if you're doing it with Shem Shemayim,
What did Shmuel say?
he said, I didn't throw the Chassidim under the bus. Like, that's the
Because
go-to
it's the way
thing.
out.
Yeah, it's messed up. You guys are idiots.
Right.
No, that's not helping the cause.
Right. I understand. Okay, but I'm saying a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that, and they think it is helping the cause. Like, because they live in this ideological little small world that they don't understand that there is. That's a very big aside. A person is only healthy. This is a very radical thing to say, but I believe the more I live, the more I believe it's true. A person is only healthy when he's home, like he's back when he's in the world that he was raised in. If you're a Chassidish guy and you became Breslov, a Breslov guy and you became Litvish, a Litvish guy became, there's some unfinished business. The Litvish guy who became Chassidish and he's learning and he's a Rebbe and there's unfinished business in his life.
That's why he went to become that?
Because there's unbelievable Kedusha everywhere. And if he had to go somewhere else, then, and everybody knows the beauty of Girsa Dianka. We have a lot of pain also. But you can't undo all the Pirchei stories you heard. You can't undo the picture of the tzaddik told you in yeshiva. He learned, he knew Shas, he knew this, and you know.
The guy that becomes Hasidic believes that the Litvaks aren't really Jewish, so there is the
He thinks on some level that's what he believes, but
Convinces himself.
When he was a kid, he was a sincere kid. He was once on the Lakewood Cheder bus, going home with a note from his Rebbe that said Moshe asked the bomb kasha, and the bus couldn't drive fast enough for him, and all he wanted was to go home and show it to Tati. There was a time like that in his life, that life was perfect. That doesn't ever go away. There's something else that happened that he's responding to. Whatever.
I think his job is always to get back to that place.
I didn't say that.
No, but it was
I'm
already
not
happened.
saying some people have so much trauma, you have to set different goals. I'm just saying it's a good idea to know.
Or could it be that he's taking wherever he went and he's bringing that back home to where he started from, and he's comfortable being home with his new self?
Okay, so he went home. He went home. Yeah, you can listen. I'm not saying you have to drop all these other things.
So what happened with these couples, Rabbi?
You know my joke. It's not a joke. It's
Like the guy
sort of
who-
true.
yeah.
My word of why we have tchelas today. You know, it used to be.
It's like vegan.
You know what?
You don't have to talk to someone for more than 30 seconds to know that they're a total moron.
Such a hater, Rabbi. But you're not really a hater. You just like attention. You just like being shocking. I hear it. You're just willing to throw everyone under the bus. For a line.
Surprises.
Just like
Just catch the next
human
food.
beings are expendable for a laugh.
I don't have that much trauma. We're close.
Aye.
What's the trailer for?
The tchelas word is it used to be when a guy was like when a rebbe told the guy that you're when a guy got traumatized, so he had to go, and a guy goes off a derech and he wants to come back, so you can't come back. You can't come back with your tail between your legs and show that brutal sick rebbe who did terrible things and said terrible things to you. You can't give him the credit. Oh, I told you so. That's like you can't go there. So it used to be people had to go like become Breslov or Chabad. You had to like turn your whole life upside down just so you could be firm again and not give that Rebbe, that Mashgiach, the satisfaction. This is really what people do. People
Because
do.
if you come back Breslov, the Rebbe's like he's a failure anyways.
Yeah. I found my way.
No, because in your mind you're telling him is that I'm still from like not you're from, but you're from you're just a mazik. Now I found the real God. So you want to come home. You know it's cold outside. You want to come back, but you can't because he's there. You don't want to give him that. People are owned their whole lives by this. Today, such a matana. Today you don't have to become anything weird. All you have to do is put on tchelas, and you can do every single thing you were doing till now. Go back, be a regular guy, just tchelas, and you can still in your mind be telling the Rebbe that not playing a game. You understand? Like it's such an easy cost of re-entry. That's what tchelas is. You hear it? It's a really sight. It's a really sight. That's how people with tchelas, I think. It's a way to come back without giving any satisfaction to the mazik who the mazik who caused yitzar, and it's an important thing not to give him satisfaction. You know, people need to get. Okay, it's a tangent word, but you know, by this also you just said it should be a whole share. Is Dina when Shimon and Levi wipe out Shechem, so Yaakov is angry, and they say to Yaakov, "Hakazoyne yiyas achisenu." Should our sister be should she be like a Zaina? But Yia is future. So what does that mean? Should she become like a Zaina? What they need to say? We should treat her like she's a Zaina? Like she was a Zaina? Like she what's the Lashon Yia? Do you have a pshat?
I thought it says NASA.
Maybe it says Nasa.
So they know what it means.
Nasa also. Should she become?
Oh.
The question should have been in the
What?
past. The question is that you're saying that the motion should have been in the past.
Yeah, or is. We should treat her like she's a Zaina? What do you mean that she'll be?
She's gonna be if this happens to her eventually. She's gonna break down and she'll become one.
If the person who did it is covered up and they're not punished, then you're telling the person that their blood is cheap. They don't
person
matter,
who's the
and
victim.
then they become a Zaina.
It wasn't
She
the
becomes a
actual-
Zaina because the guy doesn't. But if this girl goes through what Dina went through, and then she watches Shechem get klept, and she's watching, and she has the opportunity to say, okay, enough, you can stop, you got it, it's good, then she can go on the rest of her life. Because now she knows her blood wasn't cheap, she was fought for.
So
Why would Jacobson tear?
What?
So why would Jacobson tear?
If he said it over,
I don't know if he said it. He would say it.
he would say it.
So what was Yaakov?
No, but he would say it to say why the system.
Yeah.
So when I say this, I want to barvon all the YYs. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think that when you're giving chizuk, you could do more damage than good doing chizuk. You know, you have to be careful that you're not helping this person and letting every normal, healthy person who never did bad things in their life get a pot from you. Every chizuk giver, when you pander to the weak person, you're giving petch to all the Bnei Torah who behave themselves ben azmanim and do everything right. They don't deserve their patch. So you need to always qualify it with the other side. So the reason why we believe in covering up sometimes when somebody gets molested or something is we don't believe in covering it up. We believe in hakazoini yisachesenu. The problem is that usually the people bringing this stuff up and making a scene couldn't care less about the victim. They have something they want to use to dismantle the frum system. And they're using it as a tool to make the frum community
There's a
insecure.
story right now about this.
What?
There's a story right now about this. They keep all the details off because it's on video, but there's a guy who came out against somebody from years and years and years ago, and he videoed himself talking to
You have it on video from last time.
the Rav.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not there for last time? He was talking to the Rav, and then when the Rav actually went to due diligence, he sent the video over, see the Rabbanim aren't even trying to do anything. So then he took that guy to court, but he was really more going after the Rabbanim. Anyways, this guy was messed up beforehand. It's a whole thing.
But what happens is that people, the mazikin come in and they use this kid who's a victim and they use this story to dismantle the whole system. At that point, this kid taka becomes a carbon
Wow.
because you can't take down the whole system for this kid. And the system, the whole world is more important than one yachid.
So what's worse for the kid, to see that he becomes a carbon, or to see that no one stands
No,
up for him?
it is the second worst thing in the world than to see this kid become a carbon.
Right.
But the worst thing is that everyone else's kid should become a carbon because this guy succeeded at dismantling the Haredi world. That's all these people care about. So it has to be clear this is what goes on. No one's covering up anything. We deal with things very well behind the scenes. It only get pushback on talking about things when the Rishoyim are using it because they couldn't care less. They couldn't care less about the kid. They're so excited. They have glee. They're so happy they found the story. They want heads to roll without due diligence, without anything. They just want to punish the whole world for their compromises.
Why are Shimon and Levi bashed for it if they went out to do such a, they wanted to bring her back to her honor?
First of all,
restore?
I don't know if they will.
Yaakov was screaming at them later on. He cursed them.
Yaakov curses their anger. He didn't respond when they said that was the last word. Yaakov didn't answer them. Sounds like it was a very good timer.
No, but when he blesses them, he says to them, "You're very quick."
He
blesses
curses
before his
them.
death.
Yeah, the or apam kiyaz ve'vrosam kikoshasa. That's the question of how you do it. You have to do it a little level head and responsible.
Meaning they went a little
They're
overboard
hotheads.
with it. They went overboard with it.
They did it out of rage or whatever it is. But whatever. These are both very true things. You have to punish the people who do these things. Need to get punished. But the Chassidish killers, they always dealt with these things. They dealt with it still hate in their way. These guys don't want it behind the scenes
Want to publicize it.
because their enemy isn't that guy. Their enemy is the from killer, and that's what goes on. And people have to see the big picture. They have to understand that's what's going on.
Back to the shaved heads.
What?
That's why they
Yeah, now I'm actually curious.
Oh, back to the shaving heads. How do you get it from shaving heads? There were two other tangents I wanted to pursue in between this,
We
but
don't want to fill them under the
It's
bus.
like the mirror stickle. If you don't know it's yourself in the mirror, you can look at it.
the what?
No.
The what?
If you don't know it's yourself in the mirror, you can look at it.
You don't know it's you.
Yeah.
I'm molesting myself.
So what are you saying? That sounds deep. What are you saying?
Once
What?
you shave your head,
You don't recognize it.
They don't want to do it though.
this should go into my newspaper.
I mean, you're adorable. You're a zizkite, but that's your klola. Well, your klola is your cuteness. If you weren't cute,
That's what God does it
if
on
you
purpose,
weren't
by the
cute,
way.
you're too smart. You'd be the most productive guy in the world right now.
I'm gonna
But you can get you
I'm
can.
gonna swallow my whole foot here. But when I worked in Camp Simple, it's always the most messed up, handicapped kids are always the cutest, and that's the balance that makes them manageable.
It was the aside. There was an old television show, Mork and Mindy. Remember, anyone know that show? It was Robin Williams' breakthrough role.
Wow.
He's a Gadol Hadar, Robin Williams, but he was his breakthrough role. He was Mork from the planet Ork, and the way it worked in Ork,
He killed himself, right?
yeah, the way it worked in Ork,
He slept.
Ork, you were born an old man, and every year you got younger and younger. That's how it worked. It was an opposite world. It was much more advanced society, because everyone takes care of babies. But if you get cuter as you get old, then you take care of them when they get old also. So like the 100-year-old men with the cutest cheeks and the most adorable, so everyone took care of the senior citizens.
Who took care of the kids?
No, the kids, everyone takes care of they stuck that in there. Everyone takes care of babies, you know? That was the premise of how it worked. That's your Torah. Okay, so here's what happened with the wigs. So the women said they have. Oh, so how do we get to this? I was telling you that you can't throw them under the bus. Let's recreate this tangent. The question was, why couldn't I throw Hasidus under the bus? And I was saying, because you have to be healthy, you have to go back to your world, and
Rabbi, so can I ask a quick,
yeah.
I met a guy on last days who was a Baal Tshuva, right? Israeli guy who was in the army, everything, you know. And then he's a Baal Tshuva, and I'm trying to tell him of like old like there's Israeli movies in the 70s, whatever. It's a very classic with like it's not a bad video. It's like black and white with a lot of reference. And he's like, you're still looking at this stuff. He's like, he's like, I'm like, yeah. I remember what you said about the guy who's a buffer who's coming back to Israel with his guitar. He has to bring his guitar with him, right?
Okay, but I hear.
I tell him, relax. It's just little references from like a 70s movie. It's like not the end of the world. Like, and he's like, I was like, don't mention. Like he was like, all like that. So like what? Like,
so you have to know. You have to. Like I don't blame you. You're young yourself. Like, but when you get old, you have to. You don't have to react to someone's question and get defensive. You have to know what's the best thing for them. So sometimes you have to read the guy, and this guy needs to say, "Wow, he's such a charedi." Like sometimes that's in. You have to know what this person needs. You can't answer what you think you're being asked. You have to answer what he thinks. It could be he's just telling you he was insulted. You're telling him this. I'm about Tshuva. Why you tell me this? You think he thought maybe you just destroyed this guy. He worked so hard to get out of his past, and you just called him like.
I'm saying a guy who's running out of his past. Is that?
It's like a guy who lost 100 pounds, and you say, "Yeah, you still have some cellulite." Like that's what you're doing. I still see the flab. Whatever, the skin's still loose. Like that's what you're doing. The guy worked so hard.
Reference something back
the guy you pulled out. It's also it's an isser to remind about tshuva about the chatos nurov.
If it's a time, yeah.
But that's what he felt like, So sometimes people. Now you're right.
Is that running away from?
You're right. It's not healthy. But that's not necessarily your place to tell him to take his guitar with him. That wasn't.
No, I didn't. I stopped right away. I didn't continue.
No, I'm just telling you. That's the.
Right. But I'm saying in that context, how does about tshuva, especially like today in Israel or whatever, like it's going rampant with the whole war now. People are becoming about tshuva. So how does that a guy who doesn't want to look at his past, a guy who's becoming fully, is that also like the thing you said the Litvish was running away to become a Bret, a Hasidish or whatever? Is that the same thing? He's running away. He can't come back home.
I don't know if that's so much in your case. I don't know in your case if it's he doesn't not want to look at his past. In that case, he wants you to know that he's a yeshiva man. He wants,
No, he's right.
If you would convince him that you're in awe of him, that he's mamish the biggest ben Torah, he's like mamish alamdin, and I can't believe you got into that yeshiva. Which you convinced him of that, then you could talk movies with him. He wouldn't stop you. He'd be interested. But you didn't establish that with him, so you were undermining what he needed from you. You understand? I don't know if it's true. Just because he said that doesn't mean that he's not insecure. That you can't talk to him about things. Maybe he could, but that wasn't what was the most important thing to him at that moment. Anyways, okay, so
Shaving heads.
the girl tells it. So this is what I finally figured out. I listened to this couple. This couple tells me the most messed up stuff. Okay, this is the story.
Well, they come with their husbands?
The couple's there. This is a cute about Hasidim. I don't know. I haven't done with enough people to know real rules. I'm assuming this is like a principle because I saw it a few times. But that like a Litvish guy does something wrong, like You have two cell phones. You have a regular phone and another phone. The Hasidic couples, they get married very young. They're like he tells her everything, not hiding from her. They're open. There's a certain openness, and again, maybe older couples. I don't know. But I'm saying these. Don't make principles. I'm not giving a sociological course here. I'm just telling you this is what I experienced. I was shocked. The guy was telling me he struggles with schmutz. Okay, he's telling me this in front of his wife. So that was surprising to me.
Maybe she found out about it, no?
I'm just thinking how it unrolled to me. They're talking to me. She complains about her shaitel. So I tried to avoid the topic. I said, that's your whole issue with Yiddishkeit. Like that shaitel, this is it. We can talk about it, but I'm saying that's everything else is good. She said, no, we have problems. I said, what's the problems? If you want, you don't have to tell me, but if you want. So he tells me that he struggles with schmutz. And I say, you told her? That's very nice. That's beautiful. You have a beautiful relationship.
Did his wife have any shame when he told it to you?
What? No. So he told listen. So he told me he's looking at schmutz. So he goes, no. I don't want secrets. I want. So I said, it's very nice. It's very nice. I said, so how did you react? She goes, I don't want him to have secrets. I don't want him to have a private life. And she looks at it with him. So
That's one way to do it.
So I said, aha. I said, let me tell you about the shaitel now. I had an epiphany. I said, do you realize, how amazing your Rebbes are? You think your Rebbes are trying to crush you. They're like, you don't want to look too pretty. It's still got the Yitzhahara, and they're gonna shave your head, tone you down. That's probably why you're so upset. You feel like no one wants to be crushed, and people feel like religion is crushing. So let me explain something. If a Litvisha woman was doing what you're doing, you think she could light Shabbos candles Friday night and Monday Rebbeinu Shalom take care of her husband and kids, wave her finger at God? You better. She can't even look at Hashem. She has to come out of the shower 2 minutes before Shkia and fix the stove and the chont and this and put her makeup on while she's lighting candles. A be like the Satmar coming late. A be not to be present because chas v'shalom, because she can't look at Hashem in the eye because she's ashamed. I said that's what would happen to any woman I could think of if she's doing what you're doing. They wouldn't be able to light candles and make demands of Hashem to be shomer on her family. I said, but you. I said, you shaved your head. So you could sit there by Hashem, doing the worst, disgusting things in the world, and you can still wave your finger at Hashem and make demands and tell him what he better do for you and your husband, because you shaved your head. I said, there's nothing that you could do wrong that would rob you. There's nothing that you could do wrong that would rob you. And I said, and you, Eisvarf, you schlepped your wife, a Bas Yisrael, into the schmutz, you sicko. You know what happened to a Litvish guy like you? You think he can sit by a Shabbos table and sing Zmiras? He has to go to shul and late and sit in the back and then go to 4 kiddushim, stumble home drunk, sit down by the table for 2 minutes, and his wife begs him to say, do the kid's parsha sheet. He's waiting the whole week for you. He has to mumble off 2 lines so the kid can feel like he did his parsha sheet. He sings 1 stanza of 1 Zmira, the shortest one with the fastest tune, because he can't sit by the Shabbos table. I said, but you, for low-life mushchis, you can sit by the Shabbos table and sing Kachsa for 2 hours, because you didn't shave off your beard and payas.
Or he shaved 000.
And the Rebbeinu Shalom owes you. You didn't shave your beard and payas. He's shuldig to you. You're looking at the worst schmutz and you stuck your wife into it. Shave my beard and payas. I said, you don't chab. This is the mile of Chassidus. The Rebbes were psychologists. They understood the neshama of a human being. And the most important thing in life, all of life, is that you need to be able to look Hashem in the eyes. You need to be able to talk to him and feel not afraid to look at him. And what the Rebbe did when it says they're going to pull you out of Gehenna by your payas, this is what it means. Not literally they're going to pull you out by you. Gehenna is the place, what it means, where you have to hide from everything else. You have to hide in the darkness. And you don't need to hide in the darkness because the Rebbes are pulling you out by your payas. Your payas are protecting you from having to hide. You don't shave your payas, and now you can do and in your own mind, You're prepaid. You have credit. And you can sit and do whatever you're doing, and you can light Shabbos candles. You don't understand. And I think this woman, she was crying. She says, that's really why they do it? It's like I give like my most like expert. Yeah, that's the real reason. It's the real reason.
She didn't have a choice.
She goes, they're not trying to crush me. I said, no, they're trying to save you. They know that human beings mess up. But the worst tsar in the world is not to mess up, it's that you can't face Hashem. And you will never lose Hashem. There's nothing, I can't think of anything. You could kill somebody because they were prettier than you and bury them under your floorboards. You know? and you could light Shabbos licht and tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu what you need from him and what he's got to do for you because you didn't shave, because you shaved your head. I said, this is what I believe it is.
Are they inherently right, or it's just because they believe it?
I wish I could do it. It's 100% right. By the way, this is the secret, I would think, Karbana. This is the whole yesod of Karbanis. It's a good share for Vayikra, Tzav, Shmini, very hard parshas. There's two ways to face Hashem in the Litvish world. What are the two ways? The best way is you don't, because we know that when you do something you're ashamed of, you can't look Hashem in the eyes, and we don't grow beards and payas, and we're not women who shave their heads. So you have to be nizer and being kaddish Torah. Let's say you're not.
So it's a cop out to have a beard.
Well, hold on. Yeah, why call it a cop out?
Because they don't have to actually do the work.
Taking vitamins is a cop out. Going to the gym is a cop out. All preemptive health things and taking care of yourself and wearing a coat and brushing your teeth, they're all cop outs. They're all, you understand how the world works, and you take precautions, and you do preventive things, and you set up a life that takes into account all the possible forks in the road. But here's the point I want to say is, normally there's two ways to face Hashem. One is to be Kaddish V'tar. Then what happens when you mess up? So how do you face Hashem? You have to undo what you did. So there's two ways to undo what you did. Tshuva, which is also huge, or there's an easier way. And that's tsar. Suffering allows you to face Hashem, no matter what I did wrong. If you mess up the worst things in the world and then you suffer, so you can come to Hashem and say, Hashem, I can look, I'm even. I suffered, you hurt me. We're even now. When a person believes, one of the greatest secrets of Rachamim is tzaras Rachamim, oinshem Rachamim. Because it allows you to face Hashem without doing tshuva. You understand the depth of suffering? You don't need to do tshuva, and you can still face. The purpose is not tshuva, the purpose is to face Hashem. You don't have to hide. You don't have to spend the whole life hiding. I can mamish sit and be real. Suffering allows you to face Hashem even though you didn't fix your stuff.
Because you feel like Hashem owes you?
You feel like you're even. I paid my debt. I did terrible things, and then you took my pound of flesh. And you punished me. What?
Why is that Rachman?
Because it allows you to go on with life without fixing things.
That's
It's Rachamim.
How do you learn
it
to
allows you to
stop?
continue your life, even though din means that din is justice, means that you can only open your eyes as wide as you are good.
But the suffering that's in the den.
It's not good. No, it's not. I'm still flawed. I'm still a jealous, angry thief. Still a lazy cop out. But I paid. And now Hashem's not angry because I suffered. I can look you in the eyes now. The gift of this, what the Chassidim understood, is karbanos. Karbanos are a third way that you can prepay and not have to go through tsar. Karbanos are a way that you don't need to be a tzaddik and perfect. And you can still, it's a get out of jail free card. Is that you can do things wrong and feel like Hashem's not angry at me, look what I did. And
I did something for him like that.
yeah, that's what a carbon is. Like I gave Hashem my hair. For a woman, it's a crazy cost for a woman to give the hair. But what it gives her for the rest of her life,
Even though it wasn't her choice?
it wasn't her choice.
So are you changing?
Every time she looks in the mirror and she sees herself without hair, she can look at Hashem and give him a checklist of every single thing she wants. And by the way, and that's what all that tefillah is. Tefillah is Hashem does for you whatever you want. We're afraid to say it's so deep. Hashem does whatever you want. Just we're afraid to say what we want because we feel guiltless. We feel guilty. So if you carving off your hair allowed you to ask for whatever you want, and then you get whatever you want, it's a huge thing to do. You don't need to shave off your head if you're willing to be a tzaddik. But if you're not going to be a tzaddik, then you need pain. If you don't want pain and you don't want to be a tzaddik, a carbon's the way to go.
If you get rid of your guilt and you don't have pain, which mainly you're not going to be able to get what you want if you ask for it.
What do you mean, get rid of guilt? It's
guilt,
chutzpah. But there's another way to get rid of guilt. It's chutzpah.
Then you're not.
Then you can't face Hashem.
Correct. If you get rid of the guilt, the only way you face Hashem is if you get rid of the guilt. If you get rid of the guilt, then you're never really going to be. You're not going to have that einish.
Not gonna have what?
You're not going to have the einish, which evens it out. You didn't pay your dues.
If you get rid of the guilt, you can't face Hashem anyway. It's not called facing Hashem. It's not called facing Hashem. Because I'm not guilty. That's not called facing Hashem. You're not talking to Him. You created, what is that? Describe that. You created this relationship where we're not really one. I'm chilled. I can hang out with you, God. I know you don't like me. I don't like you. We're not in good terms. I can be there anyway. I'm like, I don't care. It's chutzpah. It's the Zaina sitting in a room of princesses. It's just, they're very good at acting all cool and cocky, but it's not real. There's nothing real going on there. In fact, that's the worst meat. That's the worst meat. That's a chutzpah. Everybody cares. Everybody deep down. Not that everybody cares. The only way to have a relationship, to look someone for real in the eyes, is to feel you have a right to do that. Which is how many ways? Made 4 ways of her. Said to be tahor, guiltless. Then that's the little kid coming home from school. Mommy, hang this on the fridge. Look what I did. Talking about his life. He's so happy. He can't shut up. He's just holds nothing back because he feels so safe with his mother. He feels loved and good. And then there's the next step where you mess up. And then the kid avoids his parents. Once he's punished, he feels good. There's another way. We did tshuva. You cleaned up your room. You put everything back together again. You said sorry to Tati, sorry to Mommy, sorry to whoever you hurt. You wrote a little note. And you gave a hug, and everybody plays, and everything is good again. That's also good. So there's this holiness, there's tshuva, and there's suffering. And then there's the coolest one is karbanis. And that is the purpose of karbanis. You come to the base condition, you offer a carbon. It allows you to instantly feel close to Hashem. And you can do it. You don't have to prepay. You can bring a carbon after a chet. That's how what a chatas really is. You can bring a carbon afterwards and avoid pain. You could avoid pain.
Can't have in mind beforehand.
What?
Can't have in mind.
I'm choosing what my sufferings, what I'm giving up. I'm not going to wait for Hashem to decide what to take away from
me.
me.
You saying I can buy down the Avero? I don't think anybody says that. I think it's post facto. You should use it.
Listen, because you're thinking like a Litvak. It's not math.
I'm a count.
It's not a count. But not, once you heard this, you can't go back.
You just messed me up for life.
No, I just showed you that life makes sense. The relationship with God's irrational. So it's not an IRS thing. I did an Avera, and now I'm going to get this punishment. It's a real thing. It is being able to face Hashem. That's all it is. So you can figure out, what do I need to do to face Hashem? If I go in the base medrash now and say the whole Sefer Tehillim in one sitting, you might feel like you could face Hashem, even though you didn't do tshuva. And you might not have to suffer. Hashem doesn't need to give you suffering because He's not punishing you. He's only giving you. You understand what this is? The only reason Hashem is giving you suffering is what?
You to come back in.
It's so that you can talk to Him. That's all. And it's not come back into tshuva. It's real. It's just real. It's so that you can feel comfortable with me. You're not going to hide from me. That's all it is. That's, I mean, this is all. Who complained? I said, well, you was it. I went 0 to 60 so fast. That's the whole life. You were saying it's Shabbos, shul. No, that's the whole life. It's literally the whole. All it is can you live with Hashem?
And that's why a poor person gets a cheaper carbon.
Yeah,
Because
nice.
it doesn't get as much of the pain.
That's nice. His whole life, he just needs to. Sometimes the cheaper carbon is that's the whole thing. I'll give you something so small. Look, I have nothing to give you. It's a trip. It's the trip of whatever it takes. And you can figure out what that is. And you can't cheat it. There's no way to fake it. You can give anything else you can fake. You can't fake what allows me to look Hashem in the eyes. You know what it take, what it's going to take. But if I could have raised my kids in a world where my daughters would shave their head and knowing that they'll never be able to lose Hashem, that's the most amazing thing in the world. It's so amazing that it has a negative side. Just a little bit, they can lose the fear of Averis that we have. We have a fear of Averis because we don't want to lose that Keshet Hashem. But when you like literally, like this, like Chassidim have a very hard time caring about Zmanim. All these things that Litvisha, our carbon is Zmanim. Our feeling is like getting up as Makrishma. Like, everything's a carbon trip. And that's how we face Hashem. But if you have a beard and payas, you don't need to do any of that stuff. You walk around looking like a turkey in the whole world, and everyone snickers at you, and you know that. So like it's very hard to feel pressure to daven b'zman. What's the pressure? Hashem's happy to see me. He looks at my payas and he goes, "What a yid! Look at this yid." He doesn't even. Hashem doesn't even look to a chassid. If I was a chassid, I would say like Hashem doesn't even look at his watch. He doesn't even have a watch. A chassid walks in, he doesn't have a watch.
They don't wear watches.
What?
They don't wear watches.
They don't watch it. Who needs a watch? I have a face. I don't need it. But if you don't have that, then you have to be so meticulous and so scared not to mess up.
You come to see this?
It's real.
Tefillah is like a carbon.
What?
Tefillah connected korbanot tiknum. So why can we say that when we come to daven, it's like a carbon?
Yeah, but you can't. But the problem is that you can come. It's catch-22.
This evolution is interesting.
So the
because
beginning-
he started off saying that when the guy goes off from being Litvak and comes back on Hasidish, he's lost. It's not true. He found the light. He figured it out.
It's not. Bottom line is can you imagine going back to keeping this manim, not because of this terror of losing a keshet Hashem, but because you're really caught up and you got it. You know what like Shema means, and you want to say it. Is it like the halachas are so real? Like I just gave a share on halacha over Pesach. I wanted to mix in some Lakewood Torah, not just to be like So I
Go back to your roots.
so I was doing Rabbi Rucham stuff. It's like candy. You read Rabbi Rucham's farm? Rucham Olshan, the Rishiva. So amazing. It's like literally, I was in the pool. I don't know if we would like that. I was. That to me, that's my Olam. You go into a pool with the water up to your neck. I had a yarmulke on, and I had Rabbi Rucham sit perched on the edge of the pool. You could just go through Shtiklach Torah over there. What?
You sharing it?
Yeah, I said over some Torah.
Which
Like,
pool?
I just want to give you one simple Torah, just one little. Not even his Torah. He's just saying in the verse, just the ideas that maybe we knew, but it's like a simple idea.
BMG.
No, I just didn't know what you were.
A simple idea that gives an example of. I was just thinking of this because I just was just learning it, so it fits in what I'm saying now. Is that you say Krishma? The three parshas of Krishma. So why do we say parshas tzitzis at night? Right? At night, the nighttime Shema should only be Shema and V'hoya, V'hafta and V'hoya. Why do we say tzitzis? There's no tzitzis at night. What's the answer?
That's right.
Because of Ben Zoyma. Achadosh Ben Zoyma, the man says that his time is also about Leilos. So we say the third parsha of Shema because it has Zichir Sitzias Mitzrayim in it. So after I finished that Shikol Torah, I'm telling you it's like the first paragraph of the Shikol Torah. But so now that night you come to say Shema. It's a different Shema. It's real. I'm saying Shema. There's no Chiyuv Tzitzis right now. I'm saying it because of Sitzias Mitzrayim. I'll end with I'll end with that part. This is where I took the boy. I told you I took that one boy. I took him to the water. That's what we started with. What? Like Kriyas Yamsuf.
Jesus I am.
So I showed him the water. I didn't go to Bizus Hayam vart. Because if I go to Bizus Hayam, then I'm feeding into his real insecurity because he's a cash advance guy. So it's like that's type of the shirts. I'm never going to accomplish what I want. It's type of the shirts. They can't talk about money with these guys because they live. He has to have this guilt. Although whatever, Lav Dafka, maybe he's so messed up that I said that before. Some people heard me. I said I had a friend of mine who was a cash advance guy, and he was giving stucca, he was davening, he became like mamish, like I never saw him like that. And I thought the reason why was before he was an alcoholic and he never had a job. And in his mind, he doesn't chap. He's so when you're so deep in the hole, the idea that he's working and he has a 9-to-5 job, he's so proud of himself. He feels like Hashem is so proud of him. He's not even thinking that I'm ruining people's lives with my job. He's the first time he's productive. He's on this crazy productive trip. And that's how we work. That's a big bracha also. The deeper you fall into the hole, the less things make you feel close to Hashem. Like I feel close to Hashem when I eat a meal and I sit down. I don't stand up as soon as I say Alichas Reinu and do the Harachim says I'm walking out. I'm going to say the whole benching till the end of Yireneinu in my seat and think about it. Until I feel good. Another guy who was eating tarfus, the first time he decides he's not eating tarfus, doesn't make a bracha, doesn't bench at all. He feels like the biggest tzaddik. He ordered only kosher things on the menu. And then another guy makes a bracha. But where you are, so for me, if I'm at a point where I need to do benching, and a real gadol would laugh at that benching by you, saying the whole benching, not like spacing out halfway through is like Ali Chasreinu is like that's all you need, and then afterwards you can just mumble. Like that's such a low level. That's like mama's basic halacha, But the way you are, that's what's holy, and that's what you need to feel good.
So we try to feel good about even the simple things. Even then,
You don't have to try. You will.
Even only eating kosher, you should
You can't fool yourself. You have to know what your sukkah is, what you're up to.
That's where level Bechira is.
What the next rung? What the rung? Right now, everyone is standing on one rung on the ladder. There's a rung below you and a rung above you. When you step on the rung below you, you feel shame. When you reach for the rung above you, you feel pride. That's how it is. Pride is always one rung above. Shame is one rung down.
What did he do with this boy? What did you tell him? That was the verse.
So here's the vart. And the vart was, so I took him to the water, and I told him this vart. So I'll tell you Rabbi Yerucham's kasha. Rabbi Yerucham writes like this. He says, in the Magen Avram says because of this, the whole reason you do the third parasha of Shema is at night. At night, the reason you do the third parasha of Shema is not because it's tzitzis, it's not Zman tzitzis. The reason why you do the third parasha is Zeichel Tzitzrayim. So the Magen Avram says, if you forget, if you mesupik, if you said the third parasha of Shema, you repeat it, or if you want, you could say Oz Yashir and Kol Shechen Yoytze with Oz Yashir, because the third parasha of Shema at night. Rabbi, listen to the shtickle. The third parasha of Shema at night, your Yoytze, the Magen Avram says by saying Oz Yashir, because it's only about Kriyas Yamsuf. So the Chassam Sofer asks, like, how does Oz Yashir have to do with Yitzias Mitzrayim? It's Kriyas Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf and Yitzias Mitzrayim is two different things. That's his kasha. And he brings down from Kiveger, Chassam Sofer son-in-law, also that no one knows nobody knows where the Magen Avram got this from. That you could be Yotze with Oz Yashir to be Yotze with Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's the kasha. You have a teretz?
Yeah. So that's such a short thing. Yitzchak Feldheim symbolizes that the Rebbe Hashem has basically when he takes his hand into our lives and he makes an empire.
Nice. Okay, but it sounds like two different nisim. This nisim was splitting the sea, and then there's taking us out Avdus L'Cheres. How do you make it all? Whatever. I'm asking. I said a symbol. Here's the word I said. I took him to the water. And I was looking at it, I said, what do you see over here? I said, you ever wonder, why did Hashem do Kriyas Yamsuf? Of all the possible nisim in the world. It's important to understand why this is the thing. He could have made us fly. He could have, could have built a bridge, could have made a tunnel, could have done anything. Why splitting waters is like, so I said, because it's not just a random mace. What it is you have to picture in the world before airplanes, before ocean liners, to a world in those days, when you reached the end of the water, the end of the land, that is what your gvul was. The Svas HaYabasha is the end of reality. The sea represents that uncrossable, impossible, this infinite sea. There's no such thing as cross. The metaphor for limitation is the ocean. The ocean is where our lives. I can go back the other way, but when you come to the ocean, you've reached your gavul in this direction. So when Hashem opens up the earth the Yarsha makes a shvil b'mayim. That's not a nes, it's the nes. It's the prototype of all nisim. If ocean represents all limitation, then the representation of all miracles is a path into the water. It's not just a random nes. It's the poster child for all nisim in the world. You hear that? So that's what Kriyas Yamsuf is. Kriyas Yamsuf is that Hashem does nisim. That whenever you come to a gvul, whenever you think you're trapped, whenever you think there's nowhere else to go, and life is over, there's no such thing. That's what the idea of nes is. When your back's against the wall, we're just getting started. I said this is the secret behind the pattern in the Torah that loisachala pas roisha. Oh, no, this is perfect. We're going to tie together everything we spoke about tonight. Okay? Don't shave your payas. Don't shave the corners of your field. Don't harvest the corners of your field. And tzitzis. We have 3 halachas in the Torah about corners. They all have a similarity. What's a similarity? Right? It seems like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for some reason, wants to have like strings dangling off of corners. Whether it's the corner of your head, you have to have strings dangling off. The corner of your field, you have to have stalks dangling off. Or the corners of your garments, you have to have strings dangling off. What is the symbolism of that? And not only that, but these are all the signs of Yid. The reason why Chassidim grow it is somehow this is a simon of Yid, is your payas. The tzitzis is a re'isam I saw. You remember the Kol Tarakula. How is tzitzis the whole Yiddishkeit? How is payas the whole Yiddishkeit? The same way Yitzias Mitzrayim is the whole Yiddishkeit. That what is a corner? What does a corner mean? A corner is your gevul, your boundary. It's where everything ends. That's what a corner is, where you end. The sign of a Yid is that where you think you end is where you start. The strings meitzits projecting beyond your corners. Everyone walks around with a little Kriyas Yamsuf in his pocket or on the side of his head. That's a sign of a Yid, and that's what Zeichel Yisrael is. It's all the same thing. The Yisoid of Yiddishkeit is that don't be scared. That when you think you're trapped and you think it's over, that's just where you start. That is where you start.
So how do you say kasher zivugan so Adam can Kriyas Yamsuf? Why is it kasher? How do you connect that?
It's the same thing. It's the same difficulty as when a person's on his own and you're stuck to let go and to expand yourself
it's difficulty from
beyond yourself. It's the same miracle.
From within a person or from Hashem's perspective? Zivugan Shel Adam is the person himself seeing that he's unlimited? Or
Whatever it is, both. It's true for both sides. The step of reaching beyond your limitations is the same thing as Kriyas Yamsuf. So that's the aside. So how does that fit now with the kasha? The kasha is that Kriyas Yamsuf the leaving Mitzrayim is when you're trapped and Hashem frees you, your back is against the wall and you get freed, that you left Mitzrayim. That's what Kriyas Yamsuf is to all of life. It's like the klal. It's like taking Yitzias Mitzrayim and making it much larger than just the specific leaving Mitzrayim. Everything is in Mitzrayim, and that's what Kriyas Yamsuf is. Kriyas Yamsuf is that every single constriction, Meitzarim, all Meitzarim have the same. Leaving Kriyas Yamsuf is the global lesson of Yitzias Mitzrayim. All ends are really beginnings. That's what we believe, and that's what Nes is.
Is that why Mitzrayim is brought down in Parsha of Tzitzis?
Sorry, what?
Is that why Hashem Tzitzis come out of Mitzrayim is brought in the Parsha of Tzitzis?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's the same parsha. Tzitzis is the parsha of Yitzias Mitzrayim, because that's what tzitzis are. Tzitzis are a portable Yitzias Mitzrayim. You carry it around. Every time you look at tzitzis, that's what it means Kol Tarkula. Same thing as payas. This is that that's a different Torah than we spoke about today, but that's the most life-changing thing to know. The idea that people feel trapped and limited. Why should I try? When you know that there's no limitations, that there can be a shvil in the mind, that what you think is a gvul is not a hard cap. So that allows you to be expansive. That's the... All right.